Welcome to the B-Sides and Beers podcast.
Welcome to B-Sides and Beers, episode 73. Tonight we're digging into the weird and wild world of WEEN. What's going on, guys?
Not much, man. How are you doing?
Not much.
I'm excited for this one because previous to this, I had known almost nothing about WEEN, and this last week was a major dive for me. So
awesome.
I don't know how much I retained, but yeah. It was interesting. So
awesome. Yeah, I had a little bit of knowledge of WEEN before, but again, pretty green on most of it. So
yeah.
Pretty green on WEEN.
Pretty green on WEEN, man.
Green WEEN.
Absolutely nice. Hey, why don't we talk about what we're drinking?
How about we?
Mike, why don't you go first?
I'll go first. Okay, so tonight it seems like it's going to be quite the salty evening. The first one I have is a salty Scot. It is a sea salted caramel Scotch ale from Parallel 49. It's a 7.5%.
Oh,
Yes.
And I have from Steam Brewing. It is a salted chocolate porter at a 6.0%.
Oh, yeah.
delicious.
So yeah, it's all about the salty, stouty sort of
Steamworks, yeah.
heavier things, and they're delish.
Yeah.
Scotch ales are really good. I don't have them a lot, but when I do, it's a nice surprise.
Oh,
It's a nice change up.
Yeah. Well, I started off probably a good 15 years ago with McEwen Scotch Ale was the first one I ever had. And man, it was just life-changing. And now whenever I can find anyone that makes a Scotch Ale, which seems to be kind of hard to find, snag it. So
Yeah, man, I cannot remember the last time I've seen that in a store. Because I remember we were drinking that McEwen Scotch Ale all the time. We used to drink that lots, and I have not, because I was trying to think of the name, and then you said it, but yeah, that's crazy. Maybe that brought me back.
yeah.
And on that note, I'll jump in.
You're
okay,
welcome.
I'm drinking. I've got one BC beer today, and I've got two out of province beers today because I'm having a tough time finding anything that's new. To be honest, like it's difficult. So there you go, BC breweries, all the ones that are listening. We want to taste your beer. People want to taste your beer. So give us singles, give us whatever. We'll take it. Anything.
Yeah.
It's tough to come by. So this one I haven't tried before. Actually, it's the Fernie Brewing Company Hazy Pale Ale Headwall. I have not tried this before. So.
Oh, yeah.
It is a juicy, citrusy, and refreshing hazy pale ale. So I'm going to do that.
Nice.
And then I have, kind of similar to you, Mike, this is Black Ridge Brewery out of Swift Current, Saskatchewan, repping Saskatchewan. And this is the Smoked Porter. Yeah.
Ooh,
Beer.
I have not seen that.
Beechwood smoked malt in the smoked porter to create a dark, smoky, full-bodied beer that's perfect on a cool winter evening. There you go.
Nice.
That's
you guys have a cool
beauty.
winter evening right now?
It's
It's
nice.
It's fucking warm still, man.
It's super nice.
Mid-20s.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mid-20s all last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
7% for that one. And if you love, pun beers with different things, then you'll appreciate this one. This is from Good Robot out of Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Nice.
And this is the Oat Cake Computer.
Love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, chocolate dipped oat cake stout. Yeah.
Beauty.
And I've already drank in this one, and it's good, but like it's got molasses in it, like it's just like thick tar, man. Yeah. It was great. It was great, but only 4.9%, so not like not super heavy, but tastes like a chocolate dipped oat cake. Yep. No surprises. There you go.
Nice.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Score
I
and a
like
half.
that.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how they got away with that one, that guy there, but they did. So it looks very Radiohead-ish, obviously, for
Very.
obvious reasons.
The Radiohead face. Yeah, that's
They
Yeah,
snuck that in there. So, anyways, there you go. That's the lineup for me. Dane, what you got?
beauty.
Well, happy belated birthday, man.
Hey, thanks. Thank you very much. Appreciate
dude.
it. Yeah,
Birthday.
42. Now you're just kind of getting lost in the 40s again. Hey, it just feels like it. So,
Right.
yeah.
My folks asked me today what I'm turning, and I said 43, and then I had to rewind and do the math on it. So yeah, no.
Yeah.
Once you pass 40, it's
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly. And now I feel exactly the same way as I did at 40, right? So, but thank you very much. Yes. It was a good day.
Right on. Right on. All right. Well, right before we started, I spilt my beer everywhere, and that's probably why you can see my dog now in my office just sniffing about. Something smells good.
Yeah.
Nope.
So I don't know if you hear like dog sounds. That's Ziggy. She says hi. I'm just finishing off a
Ziggy.
Yellow Dog High Five Hazy IPA. Yeah, this is a well, it's a delicious hazy. It's 7%, and can't go wrong. Well, maybe I am going wrong. Spelling
Maybe.
beer, slurring my words. Can't go wrong with Yellow Dog. I love them. But so I kind of went half and half tonight with a couple like mainstays. This one is now I think my favorite beer. It's called Tunnel Vision.
Tunnel vision.
Cool.
Tunnel. Got it. This is
Tunnel
a
vision.
Euro
Do, 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 do,
IPA.
Oh.
Really nice. It's not as hoppy in your face. It's only way I can explain it, describe it is a just like a kind of like a Euro ale with a little bit of hoppiness to it.
I've
It's
never
nice.
heard of an Euro IPA
Cool.
before, but I guess that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I drank a Belgian beer called Duvel, Devil, however you want to pronounce it, and so it's just like a regular Trappist or whatever. And then for like a limited run, they did like a hoppy version of it, and it was really good. It was so good that they just kept it.
Cool. Yeah.
So, yeah. So yeah, not a big slaps to your face, but also really good.
Cool.
So I also these guys are new, White Tooth Brewing, and they are out of Golden.
Oh, there you go. White
Yeah.
tooth.
So, yeah,
I've seen the logo before,
you
but
have?
I have. Maybe it was just on like the IGs or something that I found it, but I have not seen it in stores. I don't think so.
yeah. It's this guy doing a ski trick with like a eagle. Looks like an eagle flying past them. It's called Sick Bird, Sick Man, Northwest Pale Ale.
Nice.
Last but not least, I don't know if I'll get to it, but I've got a. This is a Sook brewery. I think one of you guys have had a Sook before. No.
I think it was me.
Yeah. This is a Renfrew Red Ale. And did you have the Red Ale? Does this look familiar?
It might have been the red ale. Yeah. No, different can.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was something definitely different. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've never tried these guys before. Looking forward to a red ale, something other than an IPA or a hazy pale ale. So
Yeah.
And
that's the lineup for tonight.
That's Sook BC.
Nice.
I would assume so. This, yeah, Sook BC.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Butler Road.
Okay. I got my list, man. If you're on this, show, you're getting an email from me. So look out for it. Okay, Ween, everybody, Ween. Ween. Gene and Dean Ween.
Gene and Dean Ween.
Waving my dick in the wind.
Yeah. So Dane, this is your pick. Tell us about it.
So okay, I'll just start from the very beginning. I think push a little daisies and watch them grow.
Such a good track. Yeah.
First song I've ever heard of them. I think that's probably the one that, if I think about Ween, that's like the song. And I remember I used to work at a pub called the Windsor outside of the University of Alberta, and it was just a bunch of
The Windsor, man. That's the
Windsor.
That's the bar we were trying to figure out like 15, 20 episodes ago. That's the one.
Just doing dishes today just popped in my head.
Oh, thank you. That's like gives me closure on that. I couldn't figure that out.
I know.
Okay.
I know. If you don't force it, it comes, man. It might not be immediate, but
I gotta write it down because
20
Nicole
years.
and I were trying to figure it out too. We could not do it. Okay, good. Thank you.
20
Yeah.
years in the waiting.
Keep
so
going.
working at the Windsor, all sorts of people also worked there. And I remember this this one girl. She was like punk rock, just like the shaved, the mohawk, the studded jacket with like Operation Ivy patch on the back, like just the whole uniform. But she also had a Ween patch, and I remember thinking, I don't know, Ween was a punk rock band.
Yeah.
And then that was it. I didn't think about them for probably another 20 years. And it was during the pandemic. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. Let me rewind that a little bit more. Was working at another restaurant, and the dude in the kitchen was playing. This was 2003 when Ween had just released Quebec. And it sounded like just really good. I couldn't put my finger on what kind of music it was. So, like, as the years progressed, this was all being downloaded. And then 2020, I decided to jump into them because, like everyone else, I'm sure, just got time on your hands during lockdown and whatever. And I remember I started listening to Ween again, and I was like, oh, this is so good. But the thing about Ween is they're super hard to classify. But they're really, really, really good. And there's like this element to them, which is like we had the joke band episode, and I thought about using them but they're not a joke band, right?
It's peppered in. But
Yeah,
it's just whatever they want to do. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's you know what, man. I got a lot of Zappa off of that, and
Totally.
and that's
good one.
Full
and
on
that's
Zappa.
why I was like, I wouldn't put Zappa in joke band either, right? Because it's
No.
dooba-da-da, yellow snow, that kind of stuff. Like it's just But like
Yeah.
same thing with that they're doing, right? Like it's got a lot of jazzy kind of elements, but it's everywhere, but it's all musically collectively there, right? Like it's
Yes.
it's together, but
Yeah.
that's kind of what I picked up on with that, and kind of a little bit of like Flaming Lips kind of mixed in there too, a little bit of
Yes.
that, yeah.
yes.
I got some of that vibe too, but their sound, they said it's brown, right? The sound is
Brown sound.
brown
Their first
sound,
couple
right?
albums
Brown
seem to be-
knows
yeah.
no limits and knows no genres. Love that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it just, and that's what makes it so good. And as I kind of dove into this too with at the same thing as you, Mike, it's like I watched some of the live stuff, right? And I went back to like 1993, and they were on this like talk show, and it was just like the two of them with the 8 tracks and stuff going behind them, and it was just like in the DAP machines, and it was so awesome because he just goes into this falsetto, and it just like completely takes everybody off guard, but just so good. It was just great.
Yep.
And then watching like a 2001 from like a festival, and it was so entertaining, and like his vocals are very underrated. Like as a vocalist, like he's fantastic. Like he's got such range. He can do any genre, and he's got the chops. Like I was impressed.
Gene Ween.
Gene Ween, yeah. Like just I thought I was impressed. I was impressed with his chops. Yeah.
And just the instrumental out of it too. I mean, it's just unreal. It's perfect. And when you go from song to song, they're completely different. And you go, I mean, they still sounds like Ween, but it going through all the albums, it just seemed even on like every album was like a perfect mixtape.
Yes.
Full of 10 different bands. Because every song is pretty well different, but they're all perfect.
They are. they're so
All of
well done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, even having like the country album in '96, right? Just like imagine if you were like a hardcore Ween fan at that time, and then they come out with that. But like, what a great idea, and what a great album! The whole thing, it's hilarious, but like the lyrics are priceless throughout the whole thing. And I love the fact that they got like these like classic, like country studio musicians, and some of them said no, apparently, because it was too crass, but a lot of them said yes. And like I even read the Jordanaires, the Elvis's Jordanaires from like back in the day. They're on like 3 songs on that album, and I was like, that's badass.
Awesome.
Like that's so cool. Yeah, but like so many songs. I mean, "Piss Up a Rope" that is just like it's like a staple now for them. Like throughout they play all
Bananas
the time.
and blow.
Yeah, there's so many. Yeah, Mr. Richard Smoker. There's so many good songs on that album. But that country album, and I mean 12 great country gold greats or whatever, and there's only 10 songs in the album. I mean that's funny in itself.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, and it almost seems like it's effortless, right? Like,
Totally.
Like Transdermal Celebration has got to be one of my favorite songs, and the guitar solo in that is just, it's full of emotion, right?
That whole Quebec album it's super it's polished like compared to the rest of those Ween albums, because that's the one that I started with in like 2020 when you told me about it. I listened to that Quebec album, so when I went back to it, I knew it, but it's like obviously quite a bit different than the rest of them too. But I find it's like the most polished out of all of them. It's got
definitely.
it's got lots of gleam on it, but it's a little bit darker too, that album. But
I think specifically with Gene, I know he was like, they released this and right after he kind of went off the deep end a little bit. It was like an identity crisis kind of thing, and he was going by
drugs.
Sorry, Aaron Freeman is his God-given name, and he wanted to do his own thing. But I've seen clips of it, and it's not good. He's a mess, and they figured it out, and he went back to being. Sorry, it's Gene. Is he Gene or Dean?
Gene, it's Gene Ween. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you checked out his other band there? Did you check out the Moist Boys?
No.
Okay. Do check that out. That's worth your time. But the only thing is that there's only one album on Spotify, and it's the third album. And they've got like 4 albums, but the third album was impressive on first listen. So
wow.
Moist Boys, they are Dickie and Mickey Moist. That's their names in there, but it's not. Dean is not in it. It's a Guy Heller or Guy Heller. I don't know who this person is. I looked him up. He didn't have anything else. So it's him and Gene Ween, also known as Mickey Moist.
That's awesome.
Okay.
But check that one out. It's good.
But you know what's funny? So the other guy, Dean Ween, is Mickey Melchiondo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, is probably not a connection there, but his name is also Mickey.
Now, see, we're getting all tangled up here. Now it feels like maybe Gene, Dean, Mickey, Moist,
Mickey,
Dickie.
it's all good.
Yeah.
That's what they set out to do, man.
Yeah.
Tangle up your brain.
Yeah. And they have.
It's unreal.
Totally. Let's talk about the mollusk.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah.
please. That is, strangely enough, that's one album that I put in the most time in years ago, probably a good 10 years ago.
Okay.
And it was somebody that my wife was working with lent her this CD. And we listened to it probably solid every day for 2 weeks.
Really?
And then I didn't hear any, like, I just kind of didn't pursue it much after that. But now going back to this, it's mind blowing, man. It's so damn good. And jumping back, a couple songs that I knew from Pure Guava, 1 or 2 songs from Chocolate and Cheese, and then you get into the Mollusk, and it's a completely different world. It's It's so damn good, man.
Yeah, it's just reinventing themselves on every single album.
Totally.
It feels like, right? And it's
Yep.
like
Yeah.
not to the point where it's pretentious, but just that that's what they are. Like they can get away with that because they've got they can do it. They can do it and they can pull it off,
Yep.
right? But
Yep.
and yeah, I had no idea about the SpongeBob connection until I read more about that too.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like completely was inspired by this album to one of the main reasons why he created the entire show.
This is so brilliant.
and they approached him. They approached Ween apparently and said like it was right at the beginning and he just wanted to create a underworld. It was an ex-marine biologist. That's who the creator was, and he wanted to create this underworld cartoon. And Ween was like,
Wow.
yeah, of course, like you can use it, right? So, and then the Ocean Man ended up in the final credits.
movie.
Yeah, the movie.
Yeah.
So, and my kids have seen that movie. I haven't seen that movie, but now I want to watch that movie.
Isn't that interesting how like some bands, I mean, obviously these guys are just oozing creativity and they're able to, like you said, reinvent themselves, and they've sort of been a mainstay within popular culture for decades. But a lot of people don't even really know who they are. And for me, that is the massive appeal.
because they're so obscure and jumping around.
What's that? Sorry.
Totally. Oh, just because they're jumping around from song to song. I mean, the normal listening audience of the world is going to know the 3 hits,
Yeah.
and they, once they get the following song after the hit, it's like, oh, I don't like this. I like the hit, unless you're into it.
Right.
So
Yeah. So, I mean, they have they've reached popular culture. They've been in, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, and that's the song that hits like as soon as like when the credits roll, that is like the song of the movie, right?
yeah,
And it's just for me, it's really mind blowing that they've been around. They're so good. I sent you guys a link for that documentary, and it's this dude. I forget his name, but he's like, I want to get you into Ween.
so good.
And he's making comparisons to the Beatles, and like, of course, it's like you're going to be searching for it, right? Like once someone says it, but I'm just like,
Right.
yeah, like
It's not a stretch.
it's not that
It's
not that
it's not a
crazy
stretch.
of a statement, right? Like if you go back to
No.
Quebec and
No.
I think it's called Among Us Tribe. It's the one right after Transdermal. It's like it's so good. Like the songs are so well crafted,
Yeah.
but like it's crazy how they pull this off without being overexposed, or like I'm not really sure what it is. I think
Yeah.
It's the ultimate, man. It's
Right?
the dream. It's what
you can walk down the street, but you're like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you can
brilliant.
walk into any studio and just get studio time and the best studio musicians and just be like, this is what I do, right? And then walk down the street and nobody
Yeah.
knows who you are, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
That's the best.
yeah.
But yeah. Sorry, I wanted to mention too. I had it written down too. Moist Boys. All those albums are on the Grand Royal label. They're all released on the Grand
good.
Royal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
I forgot. That was up there,
Interesting.
too, that I wrote that
Beasties.
down.
So that's MCA's,
awesome.
or was that
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the Beastie Boys?
No, I think it was just MCA.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that was
Yeah.
his. Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I watched a Conan. I watched him on Conan in '95 too, and they were just so strange on that one. And like kudos to Conan because he let that stuff. He always had that kind of weird stuff on there, right?
Yeah.
But there was
Yeah,
like
totally.
belly dancers and like. They were doing some weird stuff, and Conan just let them go, right? They just kind of whatever they wanted to do, but cool just to watch that, and like to go back to those ones. And then I watched like even a 2022 concert too, right? Just to see what they're doing now. Still,
And?
they're still playing the same stuff.
They're-
Man. I mean, he obviously doesn't have the vocals that he used to, but
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
that who does? So
Everything else is there,
Yeah.
basically.
yeah, exactly.
Well, one thing that I was going to ask that I wasn't able to find much information on. So from what I understand through the lore, I don't know if this might be on your hot facts list or not. Maybe you
Hot
some more.
facts?
So I'm pretty sure it was the album The Pod, where lore is that they locked themselves in a cabin with all their recording studio and proceeded to huff Scotchgard for the entire time while recording. I'm pretty sure it was The Pod, or Pure Guava, probably The Pod. And that is the pure creation and recording of was just huffing Scotchgard for however long they were in the studio. Now, I don't know if that's fact or fiction. I wasn't able to narrow it down close enough, but as far as I understand, this has been lore for since 91, 92. So
I did come across that. I didn't find the
Thank
end of it
you.
either. I saw it though. I saw the Scotchgard, and I was like, "Is that really Scotchgard? Is that what they're talking about?" But I don't know. I don't know. I can't confirm nor deny that.
yeah, it's bizarre, man, and it's in everything that I've searched for. It's like I said, it's been the lore for how long? So
Yeah.
kind of funny. I mean, with the amount of excess of substances that they were doing in their entire career, for the most part, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But
Scotchgard seems like you're in a pinch. I don't know.
it brought on some interesting
Times
creativity.
are tight, I guess. I got 2 hot facts for you. You want some hot facts? Is that what you said?
Hot facts. I want some hot facts.
Facts. Did you know that Dean Ween played on 3 songs on Queens of the Stone Age Songs of the Deaf? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, 3 songs.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
That is rad.
I was just gonna mention something. Okay, finish the hot. facts.
Oh, I got one more for you. There was supposed to be a with Mickey, Dean Ween. There was supposed to be a fishing show with Les Claypool that they were going to film, and it was going to be produced by the South Park guys. Never came to fruition, unfortunately. But can you imagine what that would have been like?
That would have been
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the hot facts for Ween.
Hot facts.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, the Queens of the Stone Age connection. I mean, Ween toured quite a bit, from what I understand, with Caius. So
Okay.
I can
Okay.
see where that
Makes sense.
transfers. That can transfer into Queens.
Yeah,
So
and you look at the different kind of groups that they opened up for too. Like Henry Rollins had him on for a while. There's another connection there. There's a few. Well, there's lots of bands actually that had him open up, but big ones. So
yeah.
He's actually a really good guitar player, and so it's funny that you should mention Queens of the Stone Age, because there's a Vice, whatever you want to call it, on YouTube called Guitar Moves, and
Yes.
Josh Homme is on one, and they're, I'm sure, on some substances, because it's there's electricity in the room. Let's put it that way. Just watch it if you want. There's
Yes.
another
It's so
one
good.
with Dean Ween, and the same thing. They're in his studio or wherever he is, and he's a phenomenal guitar player, and he plays lace sensors pickups, which I thought was the weirdest thing ever. So lace sensors are these weird. I don't even know if they're wound anyway. Pickups from the '90s that Fender used to have.
Yeah.
And
Well, the thing with lace sensor, they're still around.
still
Lace
around.
is still around. So when it was in the Fender, it was in their, I want to say like a deluxe or something, but it was only in like 2 guitars. They had it in a Telecaster and a Strat.
Yeah.
And it's the same pickups that was in like I'm pretty sure it was the Clapton signature
exactly.
one.
Yeah.
And Johnny Greenwood used those Radiohead for forever. And that when it was with Fender, it was just licensed to them, but Lace is their own pickup company. I mean, tons of great artists had been using them for years. They just didn't stick out. Right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, I remember that being like something that brought like my attention was drawn to. I was like, oh, it's like this is super unconventional. Ween's an unconventional band, but yeah, great. If anyone out there who's listening, Guitar Moves with Gene Ween, and I'm not sure the name of the guy that does the whole,
I keep forgetting his name too, but yeah.
Yeah, really, really awesome. So anyway, there's my Queens of the Stone Age connection
Beauty.
right there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I found that strange, but again, that's Ween. So yeah,
That's Ween for you, man.
and the Boogish,
Yeah.
Did you guys read that? The Boogish,
The God,
their slogan, or not their slogan, their logo.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's like a god from the other world or whatever to protect them or bring them musical awesomeness or something like that.
Yeah. It's wild that they have their own god associated with Weendom.
Yeah. God, Satan, Ween, oneness.
Yep.
Yeah, so good. Good pick, Dane. That gave us to kind of go down that rabbit hole like big time.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot for that one, because like I said, I had only touched base with a couple songs on a couple albums 20 years ago, and then a decade ago it was one album, and then I just left it, and I'm back, and I'm gonna be listening to it all the time now. Like it's funny on that one documentary that you sent is like and is. I just got into them, and now they're my favorite band. I mean, it's not quite to that point for me,
Right.
but it's up there now. I mean, it's they're around the Radiohead realm and the Zappa realm. I mean, if I'm going to put something like that on, I'm going to do it. So
yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's really nice to sort of like phase your brain, just like go to a different something else. That's what I do. I listen to metal to listen to something else, and sometimes even that gets a little bit stagnant, right? And these guys, that there's so much there as far as variety and great like music, songwriting in general. It's full of ideas, and if you ever want to be inspired, I mean, yeah.
You can't just jump in though, like at one album. Like that's the thing with them though too, right? Like you can't just be like start on this album and then follow it. Like you have to jump into them as a band rather than just an album. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was even thinking about that today. I was like, should we start because with Megadeth there was like like sequential analysis from the beginning to the end makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like there really is no start and stop.
No.
It's
Running and
it's
gunning.
an experience, all of it. Yeah,
Rootin' tootin'.
right. Rootin' tootin'.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Running and gunning in, looking for a real good time.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we want you guys to subscribe, share, and review this podcast. Keep it going, keep it strong, because we're having a great time entertaining you guys with B-Sides and Beers podcast.